All right, man. We are live. My first ever live video. Woof. Little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. See how this work. Get everything set up. Yeah, give me a little time. Just trying to get everything down in. My first ever live. All right. Wow, I actually got a viewer. Yeah, if you just joined the live, go ahead and let me know you're here. Let me know you're here so I can actually start getting to this. But anyway, so welcome to It's John John TV with my first ever live video. Right here, you got Deuce, aka John John. But in this video, I'm actually live. I gotta get used to saying that. We're actually gonna be doing some reactions on the channel. The first video is actually by Swish Out, and the title of the video is "We Finally Expose NBA Ring Culture." So, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with free agency trades that's taking place. Kevin Durant, he's trying to force his way out of Phoenix, as he typically does. And he actually has a couple teams that he prefer to actually play for. One of those teams being the San Antonio Spurs, which, if you've been paying attention, the San Antonio Spurs, they have a really bright future. Of course, they got Wembanyama. You got Castle, you got a top 3 pick again in this draft. I think they're drafting number 2, if I'm not mistaken. Whoever watching, let me know down in the comments, fact check that for me. But, San Antonio, it's a hot destination. Greg Popovich, he's not coaching anymore, but I'm pretty sure with him being the president of basketball operations, he's going to hire the right guy. But anyway, in this video right here, it looks like, you are a rapper. No, I'm actually no, I'm a content creator, YouTuber. I do basketball videos. Check out my channel, but it's pretty much all I do. I do have another channel called the Authentic Kings Podcast where I do cover music videos, but nah, I'm not a rapper, unfortunately, man. I couldn't do it if I tried. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into this video by Swish Out and give our little take. Kevin, man, what's up to you too, man? Appreciate you joining the channel, man, and checking out my video, man. It's just about basketball content, though, man. I'm about to do a little reaction, first ever live. So anyway, let's get to it.
We're witnessing one of the best finals that we've seen in years.
And let me know if y'all can actually hear this in the comments below. It's my first live.
I've come to realize this is simply just sports, and I'm glad I have no hoops team. But outside of that, the matchup.
Yeah. So hopefully the audio and everything sounds good. Just let me know, because it's my first ever live. So let me know if y'all can hear this too.
The benches, the unsung heroes, everything about this finals is extremely enjoyable for me. Still, in the midst of probably the best finals that we've seen this decade, the NBA is always going to be ran by storylines. Team sports in general, it's always going to be situational. Where you get drafted, where you spend the majority of your career, the management surrounding your career. All these factors ultimately dictate how you're viewed. If OKC wins, best believe Shai is going to be in this combo now. He already is. Does he deserve to be? Absolutely. Is he the best player in the world to me? No. He plays on the perfect team that fits what he does well. But this, to me, is the other ugly side of ring culture. Now more than ever.
And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, like OKC, and you see them in the finals right now. You actually got the game going on. Looks like they're about to win game 5. But, like you see with OKC, they did it the right way. They got trade assets by trading away stars. Like whenever you got a star that want to walk, it's always best to like get something out of the deal. Do like a little sign and trade. They got a lot for Paul George. They still eating off the Westbrook trade to Washington. So it's like you have all these assets. You go through a struggle period temporarily. You get more assets, and now you have a contender. They did it authentically. They did it the right way. And I actually did a video on Sam Presti. I don't know. In post, I'm gonna go ahead and put it at the top right. But if you watching now, what's basketball? We'll get into that a little later. But if you're watching live, you go ahead and actually search my channel for the Sam Presti video that I'm referring to. But one of the best GMs in the game. Personally, I think he is the best GM in the game. And he actually built multiple contenders. He first started with the OKC Thunder whenever they made it to the NBA Finals in 2012. And they had a competitive team again in 2016. But he actually broke that down. He lost James Harden, lost Westbrook, lost Kevin Durant, all MVPs. And now you're here with a whole new core. SGA, MVP. Pretty much got him from the Clippers in a trade deal for Paul George. They just threw him in, right? Chet Holmgren, great big interior defender, one of the best defenders in the league. Jalen Williams, great forward. I think he was all NBA second team. He got Lou Dort, all defense. Sam Presti pretty much did his research, and he got those guys in OKC for pennies on the dollar. Josh Giddey was a good signing until he had to trade him away, for Alex Caruso, which that worked out. Now look, you're in the NBA Finals. So, OKC, the big picture, they definitely did it the right way. And you got to applaud them. Now, do I condone them for flopping and getting all the calls that they want from these referees? I don't. I don't really care for that. But, whenever it comes to like building a roster, building a team, going through the struggle period, they did it the right way. So Darnell, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. So what's basketball? So basketball is a sport. It started in the NBA. You take a little ball, you put it in the basket, and you have the opposition, you have the defense. It's the defense's job to make sure that the opposition don't get the ball in the basket. But it's a very simple game. There's a lot of strategy to it. It's been going on for over 100 years. But, that's the game of basketball, to answer your question. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back into this reaction.
Other ugly side of ring culture. Now more than ever.
Hey, and for anybody that's entering the live, just go ahead and let me know that you're here. I see that I got a couple people here, but let me know that you're here. First ever live, just doing a little test right now. So anyway, back to it.
It's become like this immense pressure for superstars not only to win one ring, but multiple rings in an age and a CBA that doesn't even really support that. I think this playoffs, more than any playoffs I've ever seen in my entire life, it's shown how the modern age of basketball is the definition of it being a team sport and a general manager based sport. The two teams in the NBA Finals right now feel like the two deepest teams in the NBA. If you look at the top 15 players in this playoffs as far as usage rate, only 2 players even made the conference finals.
It's interesting, man. That is interesting because, the game is kind of going away from isolation basketball, so, it's definitely a team game. You look at the Pacers, they don't have not one player on this list because they move the ball really well and they play really well as a team and they are very cohesive, so anyway, let's go ahead and get back to it.
As far as usage rate, only 2 players even made the conference finals, the MVP and the clutch player of the year. Individual dominance is seemingly become a little less significant in today's era, yet those same players that put up those great individual numbers, they're expected to win, and I mean rings or nobody really cares.
And to say one championship, no. You definitely expect more than that.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook.
All right, man, we ain't got time for this. Gonna speed past this. All right. Get your money, dog, but I ain't got time for this, man. I'm sorry, having a little issue here.
NBA.
There we go. Cause I'm on live, man. Don't make me look bad.
Me, right?
yeah, if you're entering the live, go ahead. Let me know what you're here. Let me know what you think about what we're discussing here. But anyway, back to it.
And I can tell he really didn't know basketball, right? So he's like, yo, JR, man, like, I was telling my friends, like, your career is so much better than Tracy McGrady's. I was like, what? What are you talking about? No lie. That's real shit. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, you won. You won 2 rings.
Now, obviously, this has always been a thing. Rings are king.
I don't know, man. I mean, Tracy McGrady, he was definitely like an icon coming up. You know, I'm 30 years old, so, you know, I watched that era of basketball. Tracy McGrady was one of my favorite players of all time. He was a bucket. He was KD before KD. You know, 6'9", small forward, could do it all, put the ball on the floor, take you off the dribble, pull up shot, pull up three, pull up mid-range, post fadeaway. He was athletic. You know, he was a good finisher in the paint. He could do it all on the offensive end. The only thing I kind of wish he did a little bit more was defense, because he had the frame for it. But Tracy McGrady was a perennial all-star, scoring champion, the whole nine, you know. So, you know, I wouldn't say that J.R. Smith had a better career than Tracy McGrady because he won championships. Because Tracy McGrady, he was definitely an icon. Allen Iverson, he never won a ring. Icon, right? You know, like you got some players that they just bring a lot to the game and have a lot of influence that goes a long way, and they're not champions. You know, so I mean, that's fair to say. Charles Barkley, you know, like he's still doing this thing as an analyst, and he's iconic, not a champion. So I wouldn't say that's fair. Those guys, you know, I think they were actually, you know, top 75 players of all time, ringless. So, you know, I wouldn't agree with him on that one.
2 rings.
Now, obviously, this has always been a thing. Rings are king in sports. I made a video like 2 months ago titled How Kevin Durant Suddenly Became Irrelevant. And no, this wasn't a jab at KD. KD's one of my favorite players. He's a PG County legend. I love KD. But I've never seen a player more impacted by this new age of ring culture like him. We know KD displayed the ugliest example of ring chasing we've ever seen. And still, this left his legacy feeling a tad bit empty. 2 rings? Yeah, you did it. And you did it in the craziest, greatest way you possibly can, hitting both shots over LeBron. But no real home. Still not the respect that he clearly...
Yeah, I mean, and it was like, if you watch basketball around that time, like it was very like cowardly what Kevin Durant did. Like you were on a team that had that team down 3-1. All you had to do was finish a job. You had multiple opportunities. You know, when you're up 3-1, you got chances. And you let Klay Thompson just come back and single-handedly just derail your chances of actually being in the NBA Finals, you know, like, and then that same team, 73-9 win team, you leave your team and go to them when you had them pretty much dead to rights. You had them down 3-1. You had the upper hand. All you had to do was just close out. Be KD, be the MVP, be the scoring leader, you know, just deliver whenever we need you to. You couldn't do it on your own. And you had Westbrook. Westbrook was trying to carry the load in that time, but it just, you know, when you got Kevin Durant playing bad, you could key in on that. But, you know, a lot of people during that time, you know, they frown upon that. I still kind of do to this day, you know, like I think that was a bad move. That was a bad move that he made. And even though he did get 2 rings out of the deal, 3 finals appearances, 2 finals MVPs, you know, like where did that leave him? You know, like a lot of people don't really count that championship. So, you know, I definitely agree, you know, with a lot of people that says that, like, you know, yeah, you got 2 rings, but a lot of people forget about those rings. So anyway, let's get back to it.
Shots over LeBron, but no real home. Still not the respect that he clearly feels he deserves. And still with these numbers in like year 17.
Yeah, and if you end the live, go ahead, let me know that you're here. Let me know. Hold on, let me take a look at something right quick. Yeah, but if you're here, let me know. Say something in the comments.
He's likely going to be on his 3rd team in 6 years post Golden State. All of this feels like the ultimate end result of ring culture. Now, this video was inspired by Stephen A. Smith saying this about Giannis. Even if you don't necessarily rock with the way Kevin Durant won his NBA championships, nobody can take away these moments. He ring chased and it worked. But nobody really talks about the other side, when you don't win.
One game, I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. As I was walking up the court, you know, a Laker fan took off their jersey and threw it at me and hit me in the face. And I just felt so bad because I was like, man, like I really tried to go out there and give everything I had and I just didn't have it.
This year, mid-year, we've seen the most surprising trade in NBA history go down. But notice how the tone with Luka being a Laker quickly went from this to basically after 2 to 3 months, this.
He's a much better version of Carmelo Anthony.
Your best player now in Luka Doncic is out of shape.
It's great what you did in Dallas, but the difference is in Los Angeles, we expect championships.
Because listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you.
This video right here seems
Harden.
like it's been proven right and wrong back and forth. But ultimately and currently, he looks right. James Harden forced himself out of Houston in a disgusting way when he felt like he couldn't win there anymore. And 4 years later, he's in the exact same situation. Multiple different teams that never won, didn't play up to par, arguably with every single team. And all
Yeah, I actually did a video on this too. Yeah, this was a tale of a narcissist video that I made. It actually featured Kyrie, James Harden, and Durant on kind of like how they forced their way out of situations and really ended up not benefiting from that. And you initiated that. So anyway, but go ahead, find that in post. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at the top right if you want to check that out. But anyway, let's get back to it.
that never won, didn't play up to par, arguably with every single team. And ultimately, the pursuit of that one ring that he never won still to this day.
Yeah, I see you got some people, you know, if you're in the live, go ahead. Let me know you're here, man. Let me know you're here. It's my first ever live. You know, plan on doing these more often, but let me know you're here, man. Let me know if everything sounds good, look good, everything. Appreciate y'all.
Makes him the common denominator of all the teams that he never won on.
It's going to be scary. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be scary. Not for us.
How much has Russell's legacy been hurt by this series?
Not at all. And here's why. Because Russell Westbrook's legacy is not going to be about winning.
Russell Westbrook, he's now played on 5 teams post his OKC years.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, like this year probably was, man, because Russ had some opportunities. He had, you know, well, 2012, they didn't stand a chance against the Miami Heat, but he did have a good chance in 2016 whenever the OKC Thunder had the Warriors down 3-1. He had an excellent chance this year. You know, series went to Game 7 where Russ played bad down the stretch. Game 6, he played bad. Game 7, he played bad. It's to the point to where he's contemplating maybe going overseas to get that money, you know, because his value here in the States, I mean, he's still an excellent player. He is, you know, a spark off the bench. But, man, whenever you need him, you know, it's just, it's tough to get that production out of him when you really need it. So, you know, he has some opportunities, but I don't know. I don't really see it. Unless you get another chance with, like, maybe, I don't know, OKC, bring him back, whatever, you know. He did have a good chance with the Clippers, but he never could get over the hump. So anyway, let's get back to the video, though.
Russell Westbrook, he's now played on 5 teams post his OKC years. There, nobody really had faith that Russ was ever going to win a championship, but in the same breath, nobody punished him for it. Russ's legacy took a hit really when he left OKC. And the change in scenery and really the personnel not being specifically dedicated to him, it highlighted stuff that we otherwise gave him a pass for. A lot of those same high turnover, inefficient games that Russ had in OKC, it just made more sense because he played in OKC.
I had to call Bron, you know, and tell him, like,
you see, man, like, hey, like I said, man, I did a video on this, and it's ironic, like how Kyrie Irving's about to be mentioned, but like the 3 guys I really focus on, I'm sorry about that, was Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. because they went on a chase for rings. Now, even though Kyrie is a champion also, Kevin Durant did win some rings. Kyrie did it the right way. You know, he got drafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron just so happened to join them. They won in 2016 where Kyrie Irving, he was a big key contributor to that run, especially later on down the stretch when they needed him. He hit some big shots. He had some big performances. But after that, I don't know what happened. His ego got to him. Maybe the media had something to do with it. He wanted to be his own man, go to his own team, and, you know, it just never materialized after that. They tried to make their big three in Brooklyn. It didn't work, you know, because those players could never be on the court at the same time. So, you know, now you're in a situation where you're in Dallas. They had a good opportunity. You know, they made it into the finals last year, but you're hurt. You know, I pray that he recovers fast, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. The future is kind of, it's like, which direction do you go in? Are you contending and competing, or are you going into a rebuilding stage? Because you got to figure out what you're doing with Anthony Davis. He cannot stay healthy enough for you. So, you know, will you move him for more pieces and rebuild? Or will you take this #1 pick and just draft a rookie and just hope he fits into what you have going on? Do you flip this #1 pick for something else? You know, I mean, they're saying Cooper Flag is a generational talent, you know, so I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of the irony in that. Like I said, I got a video on this. Search my channel. It's called A Tale of a Narcissist. You'll see James Harden, Kyrie, and KD on the cover, you know, and I talked about these things. But anyway, hey, if you're here, let me know that you're here down in the comments. First ever live, man. Let me know what else you want me to check out. This is a work night for me. I am going to sleep, but I'll check out whatever you want me to check out. But anyway, let's get back to it.
I had to call Bron, you know, and tell him, like, you know, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his, you know, at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, you know, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and, you know, the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people.
After leaving Cleveland, the storyline and the narrative behind Kyrie's whole career basically was everything he couldn't do without LeBron. 6 years ago when this happened, this aged so bad, not only because of Paul George's side, but also the team Kawhi left. Kawhi left this championship team, obviously for lifestyle purposes. He's from LA, but also what did look like it would be better on paper, but it.
I mean, he is in cold Toronto, all right. You know, whenever he made that decision. I mean, I think just about all of us would trade, all right, sunny, never rains California for cold, snowy, muggy, you know, over the border, you know, Toronto, man. I think anybody would have made a decision that he made, you know, especially when I could pick my complimentary star. Give me Paul George. Like, you'll give me Paul George? You know, like, come on, man. I mean, no brainer. They were contenders. Like, they were supposed to definitely make it to at least a Western Conference Finals or an NBA Finals whenever Kawhi was in, well, he's still there, but whenever Kawhi and Paul George first got together, you know, like, I just don't know what happened. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
He's from LA, but also what did look like it would be better on paper, but it wasn't. The year Kawhi left, that team had one of the best defenses of this decade to date. The year Kawhi left, that team had the second best record in the league that season. That team almost made the conference finals without him. Imagine if he was there in that year.
What I wanted to really tell him to do at this moment is to really just stay silent. You know, just leave it. It's going to leave a sour taste in all the fans' mouth. And I totally understand from the situation in Orlando what that would feel like. So, you know, just stay put for a little bit, Giannis.
Dwight Howard leaving Orlando, in my opinion, that's basically the reason he didn't make the top 75. Anybody that saw those days live knows Dwight Howard deserves one of those spots. But again, what exactly happens when you don't succeed in your pursuit to get that ring? This happens with Kobe, James.
Yeah, ain't gonna lie, man. Like after Dwight Howard made that move, his career definitely went downhill after that. Not gonna lie. You know, you were the best center in basketball. You go to Los Angeles, you and Kobe butt heads because Kobe don't see the fire in you. You know, that's the Kobe Bryant effect. You know, like he's kind of like Jordan in that aspect. Like if he feels like you're not giving 110%, you don't want to contribute to winning, he's going to try to push you. And if you don't want to move, push you out the door, you know? And Dwight Howard was on that roster where Kobe Bryant had to like literally put up like ridiculous numbers at the end of the season to drag them into that last spot to make it to the playoffs. And he ended up rupturing his Achilles in the process. Did Dwight Howard kill Kobe Bryant's career? I don't know, man. Like, let me know that in the comments, even though it's not single-handedly his fault, but like, come on, man. Like, you are the best big man at basketball at that time. And you're not producing. Yeah, you had a back injury. You know, we later found out. But get surgery, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, do what you got to do. You know, but yeah, I mean, after this happened, you know, like, you know, you see, as soon as he signed with the Lakers, game over for his career. Because, you know, you led the Orlando Magic to the NBA Finals. What's your excuse now? You know what I'm saying? You pushed Stan Van Gundy out. They was doing everything Dwight Howard wanted. They pushed Stan Van Gundy out because of him. You know, he hop on him, try to put his arm around him. Hey, Stan, you know we're good, man. You know we're good. In front of the media, and Stan didn't want to hear that. Because Stan knew what was happening. But now you're in a situation where, yeah, that does kind of stain your legacy a little bit. It tarnishes your reputation a bit. You know, even though, do I think he should have been a top 75 player? Of course. Maybe take Bill Walton off and put Dwight Howard there. You know, if you ask me, Damian Lillard, he's interchangeable for Dwight. You know, so anyway, but yeah, that's whenever it happens. Let me know if you're in this live. Let me know. It's my first ever one. Drop a comment. Let me know you're here. All right. Anyway, let's get back to it.
You don't succeed in your pursuit to get that ring. This happens with Kobe, James Harden, and the Rockets. They look like the most innovative team of all time. When you leave, your style becomes a bit outdated. You bounce around from team to team, and essentially your legacy, it becomes a bit tarnished. We know player empowerment basically all started with this guy and this move right here. But what helps LeBron with him doing this is the fact.
And I'm actually working on a video currently about this exact topic, you know, the LeBron James decision and why a lot of people still to this day don't respect him like they should. Like he's one of the greatest players to ever play. You know, so anyway, I'm gonna be dropping that video soon, you know. But anyway, I'm working on it. Just know that, you know, if you're a subscriber to the channel, you watch my other content before, just know I'm working on that. But anyway, let's get back to it.
And this move right here. But what helps LeBron with him doing this is the fact that he made these moves and he also won with all of these moves. Now that we have close to 15 years of this new player empowerment post the big decision, to me, it's now been exposed. The moment you embrace it and basically follow within that path, you damn near sell your soul to it. We see it when you win. You get praised and your past organization looks like they were holding you back. But when you lose, basically your legacy gets tied with your decision to leave and the fact that you never won, especially if you didn't win with your past team.
People are happy to see you fail?
Absolutely not.
Kevin Durant, based on all reports, he's now expected again to be moved. The reason I say Kevin Durant is a prime example of ring culture being exposed is look at this man's team every single year post Golden State. 2019, Brooklyn gets Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. 2021, Brooklyn trying to make this work, they get James Harden. 2022 summer, Kevin Durant wants out. 2023 trade deadline, Kevin Durant gets traded. Last year we obviously had a break, but now right back in 2025, Kevin Durant or Kevin Durant team, they're back in the news with a splash move that somehow has him around. LeBron won championships. Like I said,
I ain't gonna lie, man. It is definitely amazing with how stacked that big three is. You got D-Book, one of the best two guards in the game. Bradley Beal was one of the better forwards, really one of the best forwards in the game before the injury took place. You got KD. So it's like you got You got a star-studded big three. And you don't even make the playoffs. You don't even make a play-in. Come on, bro. You don't even make the play-in. And you want out now? After they gave up a lot for you? You know, like the only way KD gets moved is if somebody makes like an offer that the Suns can't refuse. And I don't think anybody's going to make that offer right now. I mean, he's still Kevin Durant, but like, man, you're not getting no 5 first-round picks for him right now. Plus, you know, a key contributor to a rotational player. You know, it's like San Antonio, they're not giving all that up. You know, because it got to be a sign and trade. Like, you can't just let KD just walk for nothing after you gave up your whole future for him. Coming off of a NBA Finals recently, you know, like you can't do that. So anyway, let's get back to it.
2025, Kevin Durant or Kevin Durant team, they're back in the news with a splash move that somehow has him around. LeBron won championships, like I said, with every new team he's been on. But look at those cultures.
Yeah, let me know if you're here watching live. Let me know, drop a comment, you know, new to this. So let me know how I'm doing anyway. Let's get back to it.
Griffin infamously talked about his time with LeBron and how chaotic it was trying to make every single year all about that ring. Rob Pelinka made wrong moves, trying to make this work in LeBron's window. And basically everybody in that organization, players, coaches, and GMs, they felt like their job security was extremely fickle. Why? Ring culture. The two teams in the NBA Finals right now, they may not be the most experienced teams, but the one thing both those teams have is continuity. Indy, they really didn't make too many moves from last year. OKC, they made small incremental moves that proved to be significant. The 2022 Warriors, they obviously had championship medal and reps together. The 2023 Nuggets, they had reps and experience together. The 2024 Boston Celtics, they didn't get broken up and they had reps and experience together.
In which Ainge built that team the right way as well. You know, Jaylen Brown drafted, Jason Tatum drafted, Porzingis, he, you know, signed, all right, free agency, but he was damaged goods at the time and he turned himself around. All right, Al Horford, great defender. So, you know, who else? Drew Holiday, championship pedigree, experience. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you made all the right moves, even though Brad Stevens made that move, not Ainge. But anyway, you made all of these moves, and now you're a perennial contender. Now, will they still go that same route with Jason Tatum being out with an Achilles injury? I don't know. That's yet to be determined. You know, is Brown your new star? Because, I mean, we don't know how Tatum's going, you know, how he's going to be after the injury. You know, that's always like a big question mark. But, you know, it's like they did it the right way. They did it the right way. They have picks. They got assets. They got everything. You know, or had everything. That's how they built that roster. So, you know, hey, great GM Danny Ainge. You know, Brad Stevens, he picked up and he ran with it. He's doing a phenomenal job too. And, you know, the only reason why they didn't really have a good shot was because, you know, it was just New York was just on a tear. They were on a tear. Honestly, thought it would have been more competitive in the Eastern Conference Finals between them and the Pacers, but, you know, this was their year. You know, they was tired of just, you know, losing, you know, and wanted to make a good competitive run. So, but anyway, let's get back to the video. Only got a couple minutes left in it.
Boston Celtics, they didn't get broken up and they had reps and experience together. Please tell me when's the last time one of these type of teams actually won an NBA championship. If you guys like this video, let me know in the comment section how exactly you feel about ring culture. Like I said, I understand everybody pursuing one and trying to get one in their best situation. But if you don't win, it does come with risk. Follow my social media sites, turn on post notifications, do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.
All right. Swish out, swish out, swish out. Great video, great video. Well, anyway, this is probably gonna wrap up my first ever live on this channel. I do plan on doing this more. Let me know if you stuck around to this point. Let me know how I did, how everything sounded, the whole nine. You know, my first live ever. This was more like a test, so I am happy that a couple people tuned in, left their comments, even though some of them was kind of crazy, you know. But anyway, in post-production, I'm gonna say, hey, you know, check out one of these other videos. But anyway, if you're new to this channel, new to my live, go ahead and click on my channel. If you're into basketball stuff, I'm pretty sure I got something on the channel that you'll like. I do reactions. I actually do my own videos from the Underrated series where I cover a player that's underrated. I talk about GMs. I talk about, you know, current basketball stuff. So anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. But anyway, appreciate y'all sitting through this. Catch you on the next live. Love you. Peace.